When I met Mrs. Aliguma Rita, the CEO of the Aliguma Foundation, she's worked in the community of Acholi Quarters, where I was born and raised by my own mother, Mrs. Achaya Fortunate. Her not only working into the community, she became part of us in the community.
When we started the Aliguma Foundation work in the community of Acholi Quarters, we were always looking out, for the way we can do or we can address challenges in this community through sports. Given the fact that I have my sports background, I really desired to use sport to address the challenges within the community. There are different kids that I have come across. Everyone has a different story. But when I met Nikki was such a special person. She was very willing to do everything for the foundation, and of course also willing to help many people in the community.
Due to hard work, giving in, and all that I did around the community, I became a volunteer to the Aliguma Foundation.
One time I had a one-on-one with her. I asked her what she wanted to become. She told me she wanted to become a journalist. Indeed, this was more like a date because she was doing so much for the foundation. And of course, in the best way we could pay her back was to take her back to school. Because she had told me she had dropped out of school and she had just given up on school. She didn't have any hope of going back to school. But of course, every time I looked at her, every time I saw her energies in every activity we would do, it was a pain seeing her do that, and yet we are not able to take her back to school. But of course, a year later, we were able to get some funding and take Nikki back to the institution of journalism.
The time that I needed someone the most, the time that I had sat home for a full year without joining school, the foundation came in and gave me a dream to become a journalist. The way we organize the Slum Soccer, before anything, we sit down and talk to the local leaders in the community. Before anything, we need to get together the field, to get together the teams that are all going to participate. We also talk to the CEO manager of the foundation so that she can agree on her team play. All that, we get to know that there is first aid, there is water, and there are other things that are needed for the match to take place.
AIPS was going to host the Young Reporters program again in Italy. This program was sponsored by UEFA, and I actually thought maybe this was an opportune time for our girl to also go and represent Uganda in this Young Reporters program, and probably for her to get exposed, for her to learn more about journalism. So I talked to one of the organizers, and that is when they told me to tell Apio to write a story about herself. She wrote the story and sent it to my phone in the wee hours of the night. So when I woke up, that was the first story that I read. I rarely cry, but honestly that morning I shed tears because this was such a touching story, a very emotional story.
When my mother went to my father's home to give him the good news, telling him that she had given birth to 2 kids, and that was me and my brother. Thank God we were twins, but our father would not hold his love or his hatred towards us by sending me, my brother, and my mother out of his home that night. With a heavy rain, my brother could not make it. The rain was too heavy, and my brother got sick of pneumonia that night, and he passed on. When I was just in primary 4, I decided to look for my father, just like any other child, to get a father's love. I saw my dad himself, and when I saw him, a lady came out of his office and said, "Oh sir, your daughter really looks like you. Is she your daughter?" My father denied me for the second time and said in front of me, he said one thing, that no, she's just looking for someone. I always went to school seeing my friends with their own fathers, but I did not have a father, though I knew that he was alive.
when we submitted the story without any edit, we sent it to AIPS, and indeed, they just told me, you know what, this is the right person to attend the Young Reporters program.
My trip to Italy, the first day I got to know about the trip, it was a success in the community. Knowing that I was going to travel to Italy, it was the best thing that would happen to my life.
Our girl left for Italy, and she was flagged off by the Italian ambassador. That is His Excellency Domenico Fonaro, who came down to the slums of Achwali quarters.
My father, deep down in the village, saw the newspaper through my stepsisters. And then that was the time he got to realize that I was also one of his kids. That was the time, the only time, ever since he denied me twice, that was the only time that he had a chance of calling me, passing through my mother, asking to see me. In the next 10 years from today, I want to be the best young female sports reporter and sports anchor. And also, aside of all that, I would love to be, just to make my career the best in my life, I would love to be one of the best MCs. And also I would give back a credit to the foundation that I've been the foundation MC for a year now. And I would love my dream as the queen of the mic to go forward.
My desire has always been to see most young girls, most young boys get exposed out there, get different scholarships in different areas, you know, for them to know and understand that their lives are not just limited to the slums, but also can change the lives globally.